Recording video.
Direct touch area. Use the rotor to enable direct touch for this app.
Hello folks, it's Flying Jake, and I'm going to do another video where I'm going to talk about something that happened to me 20 years ago it was July of this year, it'll be 20 years ago. And this is a kind of a follow-up to my last video talking about how self-entitlement leads to trouble. And the title of this video is, "It is never right to use your blindness as a debit card." Back when I was young and dumb, I was 26 years old, I took it on myself to trespass. First of all, I went to the Nebraska Medical Center. Well, now it's called Nebraska Medicine, formerly University of Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha, Nebraska, with my cousin, who is a barista. And I took my college materials there. I wanted to, study a little bit more because I was going back to college. I was taking my prerequisites because I wanted to transfer to UNO. I was at Metropolitan Community College. I wanted to go to UNO, University of Nebraska, Omaha, to study medical journalism. I thought that'd be cool because I like to write and I like medicine. And I thought it'd be cool to, talk to doctors about their different experiments and things and their findings and things like that, just do journalism, medical journalism. I listened to Sanjay Gupta's reports when he was doing that stuff, and I thought it was really cool. Well, I had an appointment set up that afternoon to meet with a girl I'll call Robin in respiratory therapy to talk about the 3100A high-frequency oscillatory ventilator, a device used on neonates in the newborn ICU. Keeps from overstretching their lungs, but providing adequate ventilation. So I wanted to tack a subsegment to that. This was going to be for a program I wanted to put together for Radio Talking Book for the Blind, which is a shortwave radio station, all volunteer, nonprofit radio station. You need a special receiver to listen to its content. But anyway, I took it on myself to traverse the Clarkson Concourse, a network of breezeways and skywalks. And I ended up in this one breezeway, clear to hell and gone across campus, and this lady was working, cleaning up, and this was, it was very quiet there. Nobody had started coming back from lunch and whatever. But we were the only ones in there. Now, keep in mind, I had a lot of equipment in my hands. I had a Braille and Speak computer around my neck. And for those of you who are not blind, the Braille and Speak was a computer roughly the size of this e-reader I have right here, Braille display. I'm going to bring it in front of my face so you can see it. Kind of like this, actually. Let me, got the strap hanging around here. But anyway, kind of like this device here. If you can see that right there. That's what the Braille and Speak is sort of like. And I had this around, I had that around my neck. Whoa, got the strap on here again. Okay. I had that around my neck. I had a 4-track recorder in my left hand. And I had my white cane. All of these items could have been used as weapons. Well, she said, is there any way I can help you? I said, yeah, I am wanting to go to the Durham Research Center because I'd like to do a report for something I'm putting together for Radio Talking Book for the Blind. And she said, I don't think that area is accessible to the public. What I should have done was say, okay, and turn around. But I was young and dumb. So I said, well, I'm blind. I don't think it'd be any problem if you were my escort. You work here, don't you? You could be my escort. Here I go, whipping my blindness out and using it as a debit card to get what I want. The thing is that she was probably scared. And I'm going to state it point blank and blunt. Here she was, this short, squat little thing. Here I am, this tall and lanky son of a bitch with all this stuff in my hands, around my neck. All of this stuff could have been used as weapons, say that I were mentally disturbed. Had she refused and I was some kind of nutcake who went off his rockers, I could have bashed her in the head, knocked her cold. Something some members of my family refuse to acknowledge. They still try to shut me up when I talk about this event. It's my favorite mistake to talk about because it made me a man. So I went out with her. She said, I'll take you. So I grabbed onto her arm and she led me out the glass doors reluctantly and over to the Durham Research Center, this sprawling laboratory complex. And I felt for the handle and I opened the door and she said, I have to get back to work. And she left me there. Chances are she was looking for a security guard. I would have, with glee in my heart and a big smile on my face. Idiots walking around in the DRC, the DRC, the DRC. Durham Research Center. But anyway, I walked along this hallway. It was wide. I was looking for perhaps a receptionist desk. I had some thought that maybe the laboratories were off limits, but there had to be some sort of receptionist desk there. I mean, after all, what if I wanted to get a job there if I could see, or if somebody could see, they wanted to get a job there. There should be something there, That was, again, my young and dumb ass. That was my fault. And so I walked into this office where I heard these people talking. There was this guy and this girl talking about injecting mice. They were lab techs. And I sat in a chair and waited for them to finish. Finally, when they were done, this woman turned to me and she said, how can I help you? And I told her what I was doing. And she said, well, let's go find somebody. So she led me to the elevator and she took me up to the 8th floor. We exited and we're in this carpeted area that is just full of these desks in cubicles. And this one woman, she was really brash, sharp to the point. What is he doing here? And so I explained, and she told that woman, well, take him downstairs. Linda will help him. I think she told him that. I think she might have motioned to somebody to get on the phone, call security. I would have. But anyway, this woman took me back down to the self-flow cytometry lab, and I talked to this woman about, just scratching the surface, just general questions about the Durham Research Center, when it was constructed, when it was completed, and, just how it betters UNMC as a whole. That was, again, for Radio Talking Book, which I ended up not submitting to the manager because, after all, I got busted. But anyway, after the interview, I was heading back out. I was walking back up the hallway, and I should have known this place was a high security area when I started, feeling security swipe cards on the wall, sensors on the walls. You swipe cards along to open a door. Well, I made it back, but I made a wrong turn and ended up in the conference room in the front of the building. They had this long distance conference room. It's you have microphone on each tabletop. You have a microphone, and there's push buttons that you depress, and you can hold a conference. It's kind of like, I imagine it as being like the things you have in high schools, the TV, CCTV system. That's the word I was looking for, where they have the camera set up and the short circuit television, and you're viewing another classroom, perhaps across the state or in a different state, or even across, across the world, on the other side of the world. It's called distance learning. Well, this was a distance conference room. Well, I heard voices outside the door, and I turned around, opened the door. Maybe they'll be able to help me find my way. So I pushed the door open, and the guy says, "There he is." He said, "You got your ID on you?" "Nope, I left my wallet at home." "Well, come with me." He takes me in. We go outside, and he sits me on this retaining wall, and then I hear him and dispatch talking in codes. It was security dispatch talking to him. He was an assistant manager of hospital security. I'm going to call him Sam Briggs. Well, I really got scared when the Omaha PD showed up and started asking me questions. Douglas County Police. And they asked me about the device around my neck, the Braille and Speak, and they asked me about the 4-track recorder, which I demonstrated. And then they talked to the assistant deputy director of security, who finally, they agreed to release me back to his custody. So I was now in his custody. He drove me back over to the med center, and he gave me the riot act. "You had no business being in that building, and you can do your interview. I checked things out. Your interview with Robin is still standing, but you get out of here after you're done. Is that clear?" "Yes, sir." Having read up on the DRC since that day, I realized why everybody was so tight and up in arms. Very angry with me, and they had every right to be angry at me. The key word is angry. I never should have done what I did, and I used my blindness as a debit card to get what I wanted. Well, I paid the price, didn't I? Ha ha ha. After reading about all the DRC does, no wonder they were, hell. That's a major laboratory complex. Now they have the DRC 2. I ought to be glad I didn't stick my nose in DRC 2. I'd really be in deep shit, wouldn't I? Because that's where they have the big biosafety level 4 laboratories for testing things like Ebola. They have their bioterror preparedness wing over there. I would have really been up shit creek without a paddle then. I would have got my ass handed to me on a platter. If you ask me, I should have gone to jail for this little stunt. But they cut me a break. But you know what? The thing is, I learned from that mistake. I became a man. And from that day, I learned what public affairs was and how to use it. I never knew that public relations had to do with hospital settings. I lived a rather sheltered life. No offense to my mother. But I didn't really get out and about that much in the world. Unless she went with me or there was some other adult with me. I was treated like a little kid, Well, I got busted that day, and I became a man. I learned what public relations is all about and how to use it. I thought public relations was things dealing with like FBI, CDC, United States Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases, all people that I went through to write my draft paper, which waived my English exam at Metropolitan Community College, I had no idea that hospitals had public relations, PR, That was my stupid fault. And the thing that really, because remember back when all these big medical documentaries were, there were big, they drew in a lot of viewers. Trauma Life in the ER, paramedics, all these real life documentaries where people tagged along with cameras filming medical personnel doing their jobs. I thought, well, that should be easy for me to do, being that I'm wanting to do something for Radio Talking Book. That was my stupid assumption. That was my stupid assumption. And I got busted, barred, and banned for it. Today, I'm a responsible human being. I hadn't had any further incidents with hospital security. And as a matter of fact, I still talk to the guy who busted me. I still talk to the guy who barred and banned me. I hold nothing against that guy. Everybody was my teacher that day. They were my teachers. And I learned one hell of a good lesson. Tell me what you think. Hit that like, subscribe. I'll be back with more YouTube content. Until then, take care.